Hello, dear friends. Today I would like to show you how some plants can be propagated by root cuttings. One would think that there is only one way to propagate plants, but actually there are many. Some plants have some kind of bulbs, onions, that in autumn dry, or you can dry them and divide into individual ones and plant each one into different pot, and you would have a new plant. Like the one that's called red brush plant. Some you can, like ficus for instance, or jade plant, you make a cutting, you plant it, and it'll make roots, and you have a new plant. Some cuttings like to be dry first. Some opposite, like for instance the ficus religiosa, like to be right away stuck the twig into the ground. This is the beautiful leaf of ficus religiosa, tree under which supposedly Buddha got enlightened. And some are so hard to propagate by cuttings, but possible but not easy, that you better air layer it. Air layering is a little more work for us, take more time, but always works for species with which cutting is possible. Here is Ficus religiosa, propagated by cutting. But some plants can be propagated even by root cutting. Some tell it to us by sprouting shoots from ground next to trunk. For instance, the breadfruit, Hawaiians were propagating by root cutting. Breadfruit, if it's better tree than the next one, you take a root cut, you get a clone, you get the exactly same tree. But some trees don't readily broadcast that ability, but have it. Exposed root by you will create babies. Here is an example, and it's called Ficus religiosa. Again, not too easy to propagate by twig cutting unless you have a soil right away ready to put it in. But root cutting is easy. You cut the thick root, expose it to light, and then it'll create twigs in between the bark and a wood. There is that active layer called cadmium or something like that. And then those twigs would decide who is the leader, and some might gradually die, or you can thin them also to create a new tree. Let me show you where exactly is that layer from which it'll sprout on a species on which it is possible, of course. If the perennial is a vine, well, many species can do that, but if the species is a bush or tree, only some know how to do it. Here is the dwarf acerola. Dwarf acerola can do it. A root cut looks like that, but later on, in the layer in between the wood and the bark, you can see a little bit of green. You see it here, right? Well, that's the part that later becomes like this, you see? Little things are coming out. Specialized tissue that is not a root anymore, but it's a future twig with future leaf. And later on, it looks like this. You see, it already has plenty. Hey, I wanna be a new bush. So that's the fun of trying. In adenium, in desert rose, from what I'm reading, it's maybe possible to do it with Adenium swazicum. Nah, I don't know if it's true, but maybe. The other species, yes, I tried. It is not possible. It doesn't want to do it. Borseras, at least some species, can do it. The root cut and exposed to light and air will create new plant. I don't know if you can see it here. You see, this was a root that I exposed. Some branches, potential trunks sprouted, and this one won the competition for light, and it's growing and it's becoming a new tree. There is two ways to continue with these things. In the next transplanting, I can bury it till here and it'll be a tree. Or in some plants that grow very straight trunks, and you want a trunk that has a movement, and you want a trunk that is waving itself up, that it's sort of dancing like a beautiful lady. You can turn the exposed root into a new trunk. An example of such a species is Clerodendrum aculeatum, also known as hagar bush or escabron. You see, here I'm making a trunk that would be quite wavy, out of root. given to its natural way of growing, it looks like this. Moment, let me get there. This is how it grows naturally. Very straight trunk that later on develops beautiful corky bark, and that's why people like to use it for bonsai, because it has small leaves, lots of twigs when pruned, and with a corky bark, but no movement. If you wire it, if you try to bend it into having some movement, it'll crack. But you can make root cut, turn it into trunk, and it will have movement. Instead of straight like this, it can be twisted like this. And it can be done with older, thicker roots. As a matter of fact, with older, thicker, it often works better than with thinner, younger, because there is more of that area from which it is capable of sprouting new shoots. So all you have to do, if you want to try it with a species you don't know if it's possible, is just cut the root, lift it, expose it to light, and then wait and watch for something like this. I don't know if you can see it, this greenish type of thing in an inner bark. If yes, yeah, it'll look like this later on, and this later on. You would have babies. Oh, okay. So that's all I want to tell you about making plant babies by root cutting. Were you listening, lizard? How to do it? Oh, don't be shy, don't run away. You can listen. You too can be maybe a gardener. Okay, friends, enough of joking with the lizards. Bye-bye. See you later. Very twisted trunk this is gonna be, huh?